Hello and welcome everybody to today's webinar, The Best of Minds and Machines Europe. My name's Jonny Williamson. I'm editor of themanufacturer.com, and I've got the great pleasure of being joined today by Deborah Sherry, General Manager and Chief Commercial Officer of GE Digital Europe. Now, Deborah, a couple of weeks ago now, we were in Berlin, Germany for GE's premier industrial internet event, Mind and Machines Europe. For those that couldn't be there at the time, would you mind offering a quick recap of how the event went?
Thank you, Johnny. I'd be delighted to. So, Minds and Machines, it is our flagship digital industrial event. We had over 1,000 guests join us, including leading industrial companies from across Europe. And on the program, we had companies like Deutsche Bahn Cargo, Vodafone, Electa, Gas Natural Fenosa, Continental. And of course, in the audience, we also had great companies like Jaguar Land Rover, BMW, Schindler, and we were joined by important partners, Ernst & Young, Intel, and others, and of course, 100 developers from our hackathon, which was great fun. And the feedback was absolutely incredible from customers, media, and analysts alike. They were super excited and impressed by how we focused on real use cases and the opportunity also for companies to learn from each other. And I think the key message that shone through in the event was how the power of the industrial internet is helping leading industrial companies to boost productivity and, in fact, to innovate entirely new business models. Of course, we at GE needed to do exactly the same thing, right? I mean, we ourselves, as a huge industrial company with over 300,000 people around the globe in 175 countries, we knew that we needed to also seek similar productivity gains. We saw a world in which we were being challenged by others, extracting data from our equipment and, owning the relationship with our customers, selling them consulting skills. We knew when you looked across all of our footprint, power, energy connections, oil and gas, aviation, healthcare, everything that we do out there, we knew that we had the opportunity to own the customer better, to build a new business model, and to drive incredible productivity gains in our own business. And in fact, it worked so well for us that we started to take it to our own customers and indeed to the world, to new customers that we'd never worked with. And this is why we launched our digital industrial transformation and our product set with Predix, and why we launched Minds and Machines, to help everyone else.
It really was an incredibly engaging and exciting and insightful event. So I guess my first question for you today is after this huge event in Berlin, how are you feeling about the digitalization of industry?
Oh, really excited, Johnny. I mean, it's unbelievable. You could feel it in the room that we have such traction here in Europe with a growing number of leading industrial companies that are already in a position to share the impact that IIoT is making in their business. The absolute incredible lineup of companies sharing this was amazing. So excited about the future in Europe.
It was a real packed agenda of keynote speakers, networking, presentations. There was an exhibition hall. What's the one thing that really stood out for you at the show?
I think that the key thing that really came out that was different from years gone by is this is real. We're going beyond thought leadership. Companies are getting value from this now. And the next 2 years are going to move even more quickly.
What I found quite interesting was during the event, digital transformation was described as our generation's industrial revolution. And obviously over the past 5 years, this question has undeniably evolved from are we changing to how are we changing? And GE's evolution has followed a very similar timeline. So how exactly has GE undergone its own digital transformation?
So as I intimated, this was something we undertook to drive our own productivity, and it all started about 8 years ago, really, when we noticed customers extracting data from our equipment, right, from our turbines, and consultants were talking to customers about this, selling them services, helping our customers to understand our equipment and get more value from it than we were. So Jeff Immelt, our CEO, he understood that some of the dramatic change that we'd seen in the consumer environment, the Apples, the Ubers, the Airbnbs of this world, this kind of dramatic model change might be coming to industrial. And he was concerned, particularly when we saw others getting in between us and our customers, that we needed to do something about this, and relatively fast, before we were disintermediated. So we hired Bill Rue, CEO of GE Digital and CDO of the group. And Bill set out to figure this out, right? And he built Predix. So Jeff, having done the walk around Silicon Valley, understood a few key things, right? One, that you need platforms that scale. This is what Apple, what Uber, what Google, what all of these incredibly successful software companies have done is created scalable platforms. And they've used them to deliver business model change. And of course, importantly, they also built the skills, the software skills, and the culture to rapidly scale and rapidly change so that they could win in a fast-paced technology world. So Bill set out to solve that puzzle for us and built Predix, our answer to the platform play, the scalability in the industrial world. And to deliver that, of course, we built GE Digital, which is our horizontal and vertical business, right? We're out there delivering new business to the company and delivering the capabilities across the business to help all of these business units to deliver this change for GE. So our transformation has been one of understanding what we need to do, building the capabilities internally across our business and with the help of the business unit GE Digital that we've created, and really building the technology, scaling it through our own business, delivering incredible productivity gains inside our own business, and then taking it to the market to help others.
You mentioned change there a couple of times, and I think no one would deny that the pace of change is accelerating at a phenomenal rate. The level of technology available now is a world away from even just 5 years ago. So what do you think is driving this pace of change?
That's a very good question, Johnny. So I think there's a push and a pull here, both. The push is technology, right? Cheaper sensors, easier access to massive computing power on the cloud. It makes the power of the industrial internet much more accessible than ever. And industry has seen what has been achieved in the B2C world, right? Now we want to do the exact same thing in the B2B world. Use that massive computing power and scale. The pull, of course, is that we're in a productivity slump. So from in the 20 years to about 2010, productivity was running at 4% a year on average. And since 2011, that has slipped to 1%. And this is the pull, right? Industrial companies need to find new ways to be competitive, to be productive. And it's not just about automation and new machines in factories, right? That's rolled out for many years. We need that next level. And so now we're seeing massive productivity gains with short ROI windows and no need for another suite of new robots by deploying this sort of transformative technology across industry.
That's a great insight, because I found the discussion around having to live in between the physical and the digital world particularly revealing. And I think it's a really good summation of how many businesses around the world are currently operating. For a business living in this kind of uncomfortable and chaotic in-between, What do you think the difference is between thriving and merely just surviving?
So we talked a little bit already about in our own transformation. You had asked what we'd done to transform ourselves, and in our own transformation, a large part of that was how we transformed the culture, right? Culture, people. We've learned so much along the way. The digital transformation stuff is hard, really, really hard, particularly on the cultural side, especially for those who are not digitally native. For a well-established a well-established industrial company, your talent focus is actually on having balanced practices, right? You have an existing workforce, and you need balanced practices for how you manage that workforce, how you maintain that workforce. But a digital company, it works at a different scale and different pace. And so their focus in management day-to-day is completely different. It's on buying, building, and retaining the right talent iteratively. That's the main focus. And one of the biggest lessons that we've learned is that it's not incremental change. So what we found in those early days is that if you use classic change principles, the new mindset and way of thinking actually starts where the bulk of your company is. And in our case, that was the industrial perspective, right? Which makes for slow, incremental change in a world that's actually evolving and innovating very, very quickly. So instead, of course, the new principles around transformation are emerging. And it's to pull the inertia out of our culture towards a digital mindset that we had to do quite a few things at the GE-wide level. So for starters, we revised our GE values to the beliefs that, in fact, reflect many of the characteristics that we found in tech companies out there. And we created something called FastWorks, which is modeled after the Lean Startup book, to educate and create a common language. And we've reimagined our performance management process, right, which became so well known to be an iterative and employee-driven process. We believe that it's the partnership of both a digitally minded company and an industrial company that will create our new culture, one that marries the best of our industrial roots to our digital future.
It really is an incredibly exciting time for industry, and what I was particularly excited about, and I'm sure what many in the audience at Minds and Machines were excited about, was the amount of real-world case studies of this digital transformation and the industrial internet in action. There were numerous examples of that. Which one or two really stood out for you, and why?
So I'd have to say, for starters, our big product news. We announced that we were integrating our asset performance management software and our service management software, which is a phenomenal gain for the market and for us, of course, as you bring together predictive maintenance and the ability to carry it right through to the solutions and actions that you can take in the market. Right, so take with your products that are out there, whether they're yours or stuff you're servicing at your customers. So that was wonderful news and stood out, I think, at the conference and for the media, for the analysts. The other thing I would highlight is DB Cargo, Deutsche Bahn Cargo, which is a company that has a traditional rail business hauling cargo around, but by deploying our predictive maintenance solutions, and actually they're deploying software for fuel management solutions, they're managing to make a host of gains that are delivering real productivity gains in their business, right? So they're saving fuel, which is immense because that's a huge part of their business, and they're deploying predictive maintenance on all their engines, which means they're saving so much in labor costs, right? They talked us through how rotas of maintenance cost a lot of money, and with predictive maintenance, they're able to understand when they need to maintenance something before it breaks down without the wasted rotas, and indeed, therefore, reduce outages unexpectedly. So reduce downtime, reduce delivery failures. So that was a pretty phenomenal case study. There was a whole lot of stuff that was fascinating, too much to mention, but I would point out that this is being used to improve the delivery of care for cancer patients. It's being used to improve the delivery of power and the management of the energy sources you're using. So the case studies were incredible, but those are the ones that I would pick as I think standouts for me.
I think it's quite undeniable that the conversation has evolved, and for industrial companies, I think the question is no more about should we transform ourselves into digital industrial companies, but actually how do we undergo that transformation? And it's a question that's probably too large and too big for them to answer alone. So how is GE helping and supporting them?
So there's a few ways that we can help, Jonny. First of all, simple one, right? We can simply sell access to our software licenses. Customers can access over 100 apps on Predix, and they can start using them today. Secondly, we can also sit down with customers and work through their specific problems in more detail. This is how we help our customers very often, right? We just sit down with them in our European foundry or come to them. We have incredible data scientists, UX designers, industrial engineers, and an entire methodology for understanding how their business works and where their key pain points, challenges, and opportunities lie, so that we can actually prototype super fast solutions that will help them deliver against these challenges. And then finally, we can even give our customers access to develop directly on the platform itself, either modifying existing apps or creating entirely new apps that they could take to market themselves.
Thanks, Deborah. That's a really good summation of minds and machines. And those are all the questions I had for you. But we've had a couple in from our audience. And the first one is what advice would you give to a manufacturer looking to take a first step on their digital transformation journey?
Start small and scale fast. I think that's the key, right? I mean, you've got to start somewhere in your business, but you've got to be able to scale it. And then as soon as you start to scale, you need to think even bigger, because like so many of the case studies in Minds and Machines are indeed what we're doing. As soon as you start to manipulate your things in different ways, generate new data in your business, it helps you to deliver new business models. We sell airplane engines, right? Every 2 seconds, one of them takes off. But now we also sell time on the wing. We work with Schindler, who moves 1 billion people every day. And in addition to using Predix to help them understand what's happening on every elevator and escalator around the world so that they can make sure that they're doing maintenance at the right time, they're also selling services on that and reselling the data. So start small, scale fast, and then think much, much bigger, much more strategically. And then, of course, we have a digital transformation playbook, right? So you can find it on our website, the Digital Transformation Playbook. It helps you understand what you need to do to get connected, to get insights from your business, and then to get optimized. So please have a look on our website, or indeed come and talk to us.
That's great. So what sort of ROI, return on investment, do you tend to see on digital projects?
So this is a question that everybody asks, because of course, when you're spending money on anything, software included, you want to understand the payback. And that specific payback is unique to each client and the challenge you're trying to solve. But what I can say is, whether inside GE or on clients, whether our products or somebody else's, there is always a return on investment. It's hard to know precisely, you give me an industry and a context, I won't be able to do it, but we are able to work it out client by client and show you what you're going to gain on what activity, right? Whether it's reducing wastage or improving processes or decreasing, failures of equipment, right? Predictive maintenance. We've never seen less than a 3% efficiency gain, and we've often seen as high as 20 or 30%. And of course, even a 1% efficiency gain can equal millions in savings. So the only way to lose out from this is to not invest. But we can work with you to help define super clearly in your own business what we can help you generate.
And I'm sure you get asked this question quite a lot. There are lots of platforms out there. Why should an industrial company choose Predix?
So this is a great question and a fundamental one. Why did we build Predix in the first place? We couldn't find something else out there that was fit for purpose, right? We set out to not sell a product, but improve our own productivity. And there wasn't a single platform that existed that could actually address industrial assets, industrial equipment, and understand the physics behind that and how to manipulate that data. So we built it because there was nothing that could do what we needed. And it's a very, very unique offering, right? It's the only offering out there that goes from edge to cloud, that both works on the equipment or next to the equipment if you need computing right there, analytics, artificial intelligence right there, on the floor or on your equipment, and the milliseconds that you gain by doing it absolutely, close or on your equipment. But of course, it also has the immense computing capabilities of the cloud that enables you to apply artificial intelligence to a scale of data that you can only do in the cloud. So it's the only one out there, really, that goes from edge to cloud and gives you that absolute flexibility to do what you need, where you need it to improve your business. And it works with absolutely anything. It's the only open system, open APIs, truly open on the industrial market, which means that it can be applied to anyone's technology and integrate with anyone's systems.
Thanks, Deborah. Is there anything else you'd like to leave us with today?
Sure. I think if I were to sit back and go, how can we work together on this? How can you improve your business? I'd make sure that the takeaways of ensuring that you're understanding what you need to do for your own digital transformation, that you're embracing the technology and you're embracing the cultural and structural activities that you need as a company in order to really deliver on this, in order to make sure that you're using the technology, the software that you're bringing in-house. It's about changing the way you look at your whole business from end to end. I think this is vital. Again, I want to remind everybody, look online. Our digital transformation playbook is out there to help you. We want to help all businesses the way we've been able to do this ourselves. So, please seek it out. And for more detailed insight, please come talk to us.
Thanks, Deborah. That's fantastic. And I think that the business case is truly compelling. And the key message that really came out of Minds and Machines Europe for me was the time to act is very much now. This disruption is happening at this exact moment in time. It's not happening in some distant point in the far future. The time to act is now. So I'd like to thank Deborah once again for joining us today. And of course, I'd like to thank everyone else, our audience, for joining us as well. I've been Jonny Williamson. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.